Hi guys, how we doing? Welcome back to the Three Hammers podcast. Here as always with Luke and Lee. How we doing, lads?
Good, mate. Nice to see you.
Yes, you too. My voice is going. I haven't been too well this week, so hopefully you can all hear me all right.
Well, we did say we wanted Ray Winston on the show last week.
Yeah.
You're doing your best impression.
Let's go in play.
Yeah, in play time.
Don't touch that skip button.
So, boys, let's start off. Obviously, it's that boring time of year where it's an international break. We did have a few internationals picked. Obviously, Adrian earned a call-up for Spain. Antonio for England. Ogbonna. Collins, I believe, also got a call-up. Randolph.
Nordveit.
Nordveit and a few of the African players also went abroad to play. I can't say I know too much about what's happened with their results. I know Collins won 4-0 with Wales. I don't know whether he played.
He didn't start, but he came on for his 50th cap, so a bit of a milestone. Nordveit played centre-half for Norway, lost 3-0 home to Germany.
Did Samuelson play in that game?
Don't know if Samuelson came on, he certainly didn't start.
Randolph got man of the match for Ireland.
Oh, there we go.
That was 2-2, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe Sheck won 2-0. I believe he had a really good performance out there with Senegal. So that's all promising stuff.
I don't know if Ogbonna got on last night.
I think he did. He definitely played against France because Payet and Ogbonna did play against each other.
Ogbonna didn't come on.
Did he not?
No. Payet came on, Ogbonna didn't.
Yeah, obviously Payet, how can we forget? Payet did play about 45 minutes. So
he plays again tonight as well against Belarus.
Oh, does he? I will be watching them. He should be raring to go then for Saturday. Let's hope. I would just throw him straight in, but we'll go into that a bit later. So Antonio, guys, didn't get on. I thought at points he could have come on for Sterling and tried to make something happen. I kept saying, he's going to come on for Sterling in a minute, but he didn't come on. What do we make of that? Do you think he deserved to come on for like a 15, 20-minute spell? Or was Allardyce too nervous?
I think if he would have thrown it, I think he was very nervous, Allardyce. I think if he would have thrown in an unknown and it wouldn't have worked, he may have been criticised. So maybe he went for a kind of safer option in Walcott, I think. It's kind of what I read into it. But then again, I mean, it's obviously good for Antonio to be around the squad, but he's not an 18-year-old kid. He's, 26, 27?
Yeah, about 27 now, I think, yeah.
So whilst it's good for him to train with the England squad and that, it was, kind of a waste of time, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm just glad he's not injured.
Yeah, honestly, I never really expected him to come on. I really didn't. It's basically the same team that we saw in the Euros, so it didn't surprise me he didn't come on. I think he probably will play at some point under Sam, but I'm not expecting him to be a regular in the side or anything like that.
No. It's only a few weeks to the next game, I believe. I think it's about 4 or 5 weeks' time, I think, the next
one. Early October, 7th October, I'll find about then. What do you make of the comment he made, Allardyce, obviously ex-West Ham manager, so kind of a bit of a link there, about the game where he said, I can't tell Rooney where to play.
That is a load of joke. That is just an absolute joke. That's basically saying, Wayne, you can play, do whatever you want. Don't matter how you play. You're in.
It's strange because I never had Allardyce down as that kind of man.
But then you say that, look what he did with Kev. I don't know. Is it because he's captain? I don't know. Is it the FA that say it? Wayne's our big name. You can't drop him because we lose so much money abroad.
I think the point Paul just made there is a good one in that you don't think of Sam Allardyce as being that sort of person, do you? That would come out and say that.
Not at that level.
Very strange. Yeah, very, very strange.
Carrying people at that level. You can't do it. You can't treat people.
Day one in the job, he's completely undermined himself.
Yeah.
Completely undermined himself.
Yeah.
It was an outrageous comment, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And if I was, I'm never going to get to that level, obviously, despite my best wishes. But if I was a manager and I said to Wayne Rooney, "You're playing as number 10," and he starts playing as number 4, get the hell off the pitch. Substitute him.
Yeah.
You need to follow instructions. I think Wayne Rooney needs to look at himself. We're not following these managers' instructions. And 2, Allardyce, I thought, had bigger what's-its than that. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. The thing with that as well, Allardyce, anyone who upset him during his time at West Ham and that, they were gone. They were gone. Zarate went, didn't he? He came back for Bilic for a little while. But anyone who didn't fall into his plans and his tactics, he just went, see you later.
I think like Lee said, He is nervous. I mean, this is the pinnacle of Allardyce's career. He's probably been waiting for this for a very long time. This is probably going to be his last job in management. So I don't know. Maybe that's just blindsiding him a little bit. Maybe he's so worried about getting sacked. He's so worried about getting it wrong. He wants to do whatever he can to please
Just
the
say,
FA.
oh,
You know.
God. Yeah. Enough of England. Moving on, guys. Just a subject I've just thought of actually, top of my head. Mark Horsley, guys, former referee,
Yeah.
made some shocking comments this week that have really sort of opened our eyes. Whether true or not, who knows? But they're definitely, I don't know, rise up suspicion in your brains. I don't know, for anyone who hasn't seen it, Mark has basically said that there's this company, this referee company that's in charge. I can't remember the exact name.
PMGOL or something.
Yeah,
isn't it?
something like that.
Yeah.
And he said that they have told referees in the past to say they've either seen it or not seen it. Decisions go regularly for the bigger clubs. What do you make of that, guys? I was shocked, absolutely shocked.
I mean,
I wasn't shocked. I was more like, well, this really does go on.
Yeah, I was. Sorry, Lee, go on.
Go on, no, go on, Paul. You go.
No, I was going to say, like Luke says, I wasn't shocked or surprised at all. I think it's obvious. The shocking and surprising thing is that someone's actually come out and said it. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the surprising thing. But I mean, it's been so obvious for years and years, and there's no way the amount of money that's involved in the Premier League, there's no way that this kind of thing doesn't go on. You know?
Yeah.
I think there's two issues. One, he has no reason to lie now. He's a retired referee. He's done a decent amount of work.
Book.
Well, I've read his book, and it's been out for a long time. It's not like it's a new book.
So he sort of just highlighted it again.
Yeah, I've read it, and I can't remember reading that. But there was quite a bit of controversy in there, something about refs he didn't like. So I wonder, maybe there's a bit of sort of trying to get his own. But he was very bitter about never getting a cup final, for example. I remember reading these books, and there might be a bit of that. Number two, I think the underlying issue is, I think this stemmed from the Aguero thing, didn't it, against Reed?
Yeah.
I mean, a Premiership referee should be seeing a blatant elbow like that. At the end of the day, that should be seen.
And he was right in front of him. He was looking at it.
Sorry, guys. What do you make of that then? That Man City's argument is that they can say the refs see it and that he didn't think it was a red card. So who's right here?
That's a fair point from Man City. Because if you look at it, he was looking straight at it.
But what Aguero did, can he still not, in retrospect, be banned? What is the right decision?
I understand what you're saying. He deserved to be banned for what he did, but the Premier League rules say that if the ref saw it and decided at the time it wasn't a red card offence, then you can't go back and change that. So Man City are right to use that defence, I think. Obviously, it's still right that he got banned. He deserved to get banned.
Should that defence be allowed, though?
No, it's a ridiculous rule. The whole, just because the ref saw it, that then you can't be retrospectively banned.
Does it not force the argument more of, again, that constant argument of video technology then?
Yeah, 100%. But then there's kind of what this is, isn't it? Going back, and it's the rule thing, isn't it? There shouldn't be a rule that says just because the ref saw it. I mean, the ref might have seen an arm movement, but I'm trying to think of another example where, although the ref saw it, it actually turned out to be 10 times as worse as the original instance seemed.
Yeah.
Can't think of one off the top of my head right now, but I'm sure there's been plenty. And in that case, then no further action can be taken because the ref dealt with the original offence. And
I think a bigger problem now is the actual punishment. So retrospectively now, action's been taken. Aguero's got a 3-match ban. That does us no favours whatsoever.
No.
If anything, it goes against us more because it means they're losing their best player, playing against teams that maybe we are going to be challenging against in the league. So it does us no favours at all. I think the punishment needs to be changed. So okay, he's got a 3-match ban. What if, and I saw someone on These Up Mother Brown wrote this and I thought it was a good idea. What if they did a 2-match ban as normal, but then the third match was against us? So he was banned for the next game against us.
That would be a really good rule change, actually. I'd like to see that. So if he wasn't sent, so for example, like Diego Costa with us, then he wouldn't play the game at the Olympic Stadium. That is definitely something they could think about. That would be a really good idea, actually.
I mean that is a great example, the Costa one, actually, because at the time the ref may not have seen how high his studs were, but because he saw some sort of foul, which he didn't think was a bookable offence. They could do nothing about it afterwards. But actually, looking back on it, it was a bad foul, and the FA should be able to go back to it and say, well, that's the second yellow card. You're serving a 1-match ban.
Yeah, no, that's right. So what are your opinions on video technology? Just shortly, I don't think we've ever spoke about it on this channel. Just what are your opinions? Would you bring it in, and how?
They're trialing it, aren't they, in Germany and somewhere else, France maybe. Certainly, there was an international match just gone where they trialled it. So it's happening, and my view has always been that it's great as long as you don't slow the game down like rugby, which is just played at a snail's pace because it's stop, start. So it'd be good if they could do it in a way that keeps the speed of the game.
And what is your suggestion to keep that if you had one?
It can't work for everything. I think you need to. The beauty of football is that there's bits of it which are so like, I don't know, like, because sometimes even when you get an offside call, it's so tight, even the camera can't even.
I think there's things like, with regards to slowing the game down and everything. So let's take, for example, that Aguero arm on Reed. That happened, and then the play carried on, but then the ball went out of play for a throw, and Reed's down on the floor. While the game was stopped, there was plenty of time to look at a replay there. And most of the time for these decisions, the players spend so much time arguing it anyway. In the time they spend arguing, it would be easy for a fourth official to look at a screen and say yes or no. Do you know what I mean?
I think if I had a suggestion, it would be at the ref's discretion, if he really feels he need it, and each manager should possibly get 1 or 2 challenges each half, and then you get another one in extra time if you get that. But a maximum of 1 or 2 challenges for each manager, a bit like tennis, so they can go, okay, right, ref, I don't agree with that. Have a look at that. But if they go over there 2 and then another incident happens in that half, that's it. They've run out of challenges.
Do you know, I'm kind of inclined, thinking about it a bit more, to say that I'd only like to see it when it affects a goal. So we've got the goal line technology, but like if it's offside and you think it's offside, that I don't think it.
What about penalties though? Look at the amount of penalties against us last year that were blatant dives or
outside the box. See, outside the box. Outside the box is a lot easier. Things like diving, it's kind of the referee's discretion, isn't it? I mean, it's not so obvious. I mean, that's the sort of thing I wouldn't want to see taken out of the game, whereas the ref, because otherwise refs are just robots.
And what's a hard thing to do as well is stopping the game when play carries on. So say, for example, someone goes down in the box and the ref says, no, play on, and then play carries on. How do you challenge that? How do you say, wait, I want to change that? How do you then stop the game? Do you know what I mean? Because obviously...
Well, you let the game go on.
But by then, say the game goes on.
They might go and score a goal.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So let the game go on. If they score a goal, but it's a controversial decision that's led up to it, you can challenge it, and then the goal's wiped off.
Yeah, but then you'd be saying, well, it should have been a penalty to us, so maybe we would have scored, or maybe that player would have been sent off.
Yeah, it's very complicated.
Yeah, it is. It's not... It is complicated. I think...
A lot of grey areas.
It will come in. It will definitely come in, and I think it will be a good thing when it does come in. But it will need to be done right. I think it will take a season or 2 to work out the kinks.
Like Hawkeye is great because the ref just gets
the goal line technology is brilliant. But even then, do you remember when that first comment on Jonathan Pearce? Like, I think it was Jonathan Pearce, and he was
that was him. That wasn't the technology's fault.
Yeah, no, it wasn't technology. And it come on the screen. Oh, it's not a goal, and it was a goal. Yeah. And he was trying to make it look like there was a fault in the system. Yeah. And it was a load of old codswallop. Yeah. You know what I mean? It was just him trying to create drama on TV. Nothing wrong with Hawkeye. It's a great
Nothing wrong with Jonathan Pearce even. No bad.
No. Guys, what do you think? Video technology, Mark Halsey's comments. Let us know. Where do you think we should use video technology, and how do you think we can keep it up without slowing the game down too much? Okay. Seems to be ongoing subject, guys, with West Ham at the moment. Safe standing. Sit down.
Stand up.
What do you think, guys? Where me and Lee are, obviously, there's no point standing up because we're so far away. I'll probably be even further away if I stood up. So, but in terms of the lower tier, where the problems seem to be, the last game against Bournemouth, there was someone taken out. There were fights in the Astra game. What do you think, guys?
Oh, go on, Lee. I know Lee's got lots to say about this.
No, I haven't really. I just think we've spoke about this before. I'm pretty sure I'm about to say.
Yeah, we've spoken about it before, but I just want to touch on it again because it just hasn't gone away since.
It won't go away.
It won't go away, but just sit down for half a season. We'll get the extra seats and stand up to your heart's content. Seriously. I mean, they're not. I think what people have been really obtuse, I love that word, about this, is that they're saying, like, oh, we're not even allowed to stand up when bubbles come on, or when we score a goal, we've got to sit down. That's absolute coswallop. We're not allowed to swear. So
That's a great word.
That's absolute trifling.
I say. No, do you know what? Sorry, I have to say, do you know what? See the no swearing rule? That's going to do dividends for us because YouTube are bringing in new rules that you can't monetize videos with swearing. So there you go. Just, yeah, sorry, carry on. Codswallop.
So it is absolute codswallop. Yeah.
It's a family show, guys. I do. I'm sure you've seen me on West Ham Fan TV, guys. I do open up and let loose there when I start swearing. It's just we have to behave ourselves because we're on iTunes.
What was I saying? The point I was making is that they're not saying sit down for absolutely every minute of the match. They're not saying that in the slightest. And yes, I think it harks back to there should have been more done with the transition process, and they should have been clear that there were certain bits of the ground that were standing at Upton Park. So chances are they're going to be standing again at a new stadium, and indeed that's what's happened. And then the people that have moved into those areas no longer want to sit down as they're standing up. It's an absolute mess. It goes back to the transition period. But as I'm saying, just they're not saying. I don't buy the argument that you can't make a good atmosphere sitting down. I don't buy that at all. Because if you go to the rugby, you go to the Olympics. You go to the Olympics in London in 2012, in that same stadium, people were sat down and there was a good atmosphere.
Yeah, I think with standing, there's like a time and a place for it, guys. You know, like if you get a corner, if you're on the attack, you know, and you're going to stand up and start getting excited when there's a goal. But again, I don't want to sound like I'm one of these boring fans, but like I say, just play the game. Play the game for a season and a half. Get to 66,000 and then bloody stand up. Like, what is it? There's just, like Lee said, there's a stubbornness now to stand up. He says, just sit down. Like, just do it for a season. What do you think?
It is difficult. It is really difficult because, like you say, there are a lot of fans that have been standing for the last 30, 40 years. And that's what they do. They go to games, they stand up. They were there when they were terracing and they're used to standing up, and that's what they're used to. And it's hard to tell people like that you can't stand up anymore.
Me and Lee stood up for the last sort of 5 years of our season to get over there.
Actually, you know, that there's a point I've been trying to find a way to get into a tweet, and I've just been struggling to because it's too complex. So I'm going to quickly explain it now. We've moved around quite a few times at Upton Park. So the last 2 years at Upton Park, we were sat on the back row of the lower tier of the, what's it called, Betway stand. And behind us was the corporate seat. So trust me, this isn't a new thing, because where we were, everyone was stood up. But the way Upton Park was built, the corporate seats were lower than the bits in front of them. So, and I seemed to get the brunt of this from where I was sat for some goddamn reason. I was the official spokesperson. I was the Kofi Annan of Lock, wherever it was.
Chaff corner.
Of Lock, yeah. And so I was literally getting poked in my back, game after game. People saying, sit down. And every time I had to turn around and say, look, row A sits down, I sit down. So this isn't a new thing. It has been happening previously. So I kind of want to say get off your high horse a bit, really.
I think it will take time. It will take time for them people to move from the seating and move into the standing areas. It will take time.
And you know, like if you're sat in row A, B, C, D ish, and you're stood up, and there's someone sat in row 8, swap.
Yeah.
Talk to each other. You're West Ham. You'll speak the same language, or most people speak the same language. Talk to each other. Don't have a row. Sorry, I've got a little kid with me. Can we swap seats? You go and sit towards the back, and I'll sit there.
It's been launched actually, seat swap over there. So hopefully, maybe that will sort a lot of issues out.
But even don't do it officially. Just chat to people around you. Say, look, mate, I've got my kid here. Do you mind? I'm not going to have a go at you for standing. That's your
but can he stand in front of you or
Exactly. The problem starts is that people have had too much to drink over there.
Yeah. And the Astra game with the fighting, that is just ridiculous. That's too far.
And it's hard to have a conversation with someone who's rat-arsed. Basically, it's impossible. But you can't have a normal conversation with someone that's drunk and try to explain that without them. You sort of say something like, "Oh, sorry, my kid can't see," and before you had the chance to say, "Oh, do you mind if they go?" "Oh, okay, I've been coming here for 50 years."
So, what would you like to see safe, Stanner?
Yeah,
but I mean, of course I would, but it's not going to happen overnight. No. So, in terms of
I need to think how much it would cost as well.
Well, how much it would
cost?
Well,
and it's not us either, is it? It's not West Ham that we have to then persuade
what
they call
the LDC.
Yeah. that it's also worth their while, and people go and watch Olympics.
That's
are they going to
actually
want safe
that
standing?
is actually a very good point. It won't happen in the Olympic Stadium because, like you say, for Olympic events, rugby, any other events that happen in that stadium, they're going to need to be seats. So
Well,
it won't happen.
have you seen the things that Celtic have got?
They're like
Where the
bars.
terraces and they have a seat.
Yeah, but there's still going to be bars in front of them. So if you're sitting down in the actual seat, there's got to be a bar to stop you basically falling over.
Yeah.
So that's going to be in front of the person that's sitting there. Yeah, that's actually something I hadn't thought about. So I'd actually be very, very surprised if it ever happened, unless we ended up taking over the stadium.
Yeah.
I mean, just to close on this, if I may, we're not going to move back to Upton Park. We're at the Olympic Stadium, we're at the London Stadium, whatever it's called. Just, I think we kind of have to get on with it, and the whole stand-up, sit-down thing will probably hang around for a little bit longer until people find their way. Just respect other people's views, and I've said this before, and again, I put a tweet out about it. I just find it amazing how people just abuse each other on the basis of a difference. It doesn't make you a better fan because you stood up.
Okay.
Nothing like that.
Just one last thing, yeah. So on the seating, the only other one I've got sort of around this sort of issue, guys, is what do you make of these people that are telling people to stop singing, don't swear? Have you heard these stuff?
I haven't heard.
Stop singing.
Stop singing.
Yeah.
I've never heard that.
I've heard some of the other YouTube videos out there from West Ham guys. They have said that they was at the game, and then you would have your sort of la-di-da fans that would turn around to him and go, "Can you stop singing, please?"
I think I honestly struggled to believe that.
Yeah.
I really struggled to believe that. The only way I think it could be an issue is if they were saying something derogatory, racist or xenophobic or something. That's the only way I can see someone turning around. Because you go to a football match, you know what you're going to get, regardless of whether you've been.
What do you make of the?
Before.
Can you stop swearing, please? That winds me up for something rotten, and I don't know how we behave ourselves so well on this show, to be honest. Because like the C word is probably my second favourite word.
Do you know the swearing thing's an issue in that I kind of get, if you were sat in the family stand at Upton Park, you kind of should rein it in a bit, I think. My own view is you're sat in the family stand, you should rein it in a bit. But the new stadium doesn't have one, as far as I know. I don't know if they've found, I haven't seen anything
I mean,
about
if you've got an issue with it, don't take your bloody kids.
No, I'm not saying
taking
that.
my daughter there.
But I'm just saying, if in Upton Park, if you were sat in the family stand, I think you kind of should be expected to rein it. I'm not saying be a saint, but in the family stand, in all other areas of the ground, it's
very swear word friendly, isn't he? The person behind you.
Yeah, he has a yeah.
It's a weird one, that, because I can kind of see it from both sides. Yeah, I mean, like, again, we have to be good on this show, but you know, we swear non-stop. But it's true, like, you know, I know, like you say there, Luke, don't take your kids. I don't agree with that whatsoever. I think that's a ridiculous statement.
Yeah, but you know what you're gonna go. When I take the baby, say I take the baby when she's about 8 or whatever, and someone's giving it CEF, blinding, all this crap, I know what she's going in for. So I've got no right to go, oh, don't swear, my baby's there. Load of crap.
Yeah.
I think
to a football match.
No, you're right.
So I think in that instance, it's kind of, you're going to get the swearing, and I know you get the swearing. There's a caveat about the family bit. You kind of need to have a chat with your kid, don't you? And say, you're going to hear some naughty words. Ignore them.
That's probably a better way to do it, yeah.
Yeah. Do you know Chelsea away? And I love this person's watching. I think he was quite pissed. So sorry, not allowed to say that.
No, you can say pissed. That's fine.
I can say that. There you go. That's all right then.
We're learning ourselves what a swear is today.
Yeah, we can. Every other word's now going to be pissed.
There's no F's. There's no F's or C's.
Chelsea away. I was sat next to a lad who I reckon was between the age of 7 and 10, and he was shouting things like "Chelsea rent boys." What a bunch of rent boys. That's a 7 to 10-year-old. Probably don't even know what it is. So, a kind of, I think, a bit of parenting needed. I
don't know. If they don't know what it is, I'm going to sound so wrong here. It's just, it don't bother me. Like,
but
my
if
nephew...
if he goes to school and says to a kid, you're a rent boy.
That's wrong. I agree with that. And remember, I work in a school, so I'd be very disappointed if a child did say that. But, for example, my nephew sings the Winston Reid song. We all know how that goes, you know, who put the ball in the bucket, Winston. First thing that he said to me when he sang that song is, "Luke, what is a pikey?"
What did you tell him?
I said, "Hush, mum." But yeah, I know what you're saying, Lee. There are songs out there where I don't know. But again, that is the role of the parent.
Yeah.
To go, right, little un, you're gonna be going this. You're gonna have some swear words maybe thrown at you. Just ignore those naughty words. But yeah, I don't think you have any right to tell someone not to swear. There are words. There are words. As long as they're not turning around going, "I'll see you." Yeah.
I kind of, yeah, and swearing, I think you're going to get that at football, but some of the, so Man City away 2 weeks ago, there was a guy, I can't remember if I said this last time or not anyway, but he was hammered, let's say, but he was threatening to shoot. Did I say this last week? I can't remember.
No, you didn't actually.
He was threatening to shoot the Man City fans. And he kind of turned into, if you were sat in the lower tier at the Etihad, sort of on the right hand side, close to the segregation, there was a bloke sat behind, and he was threatening to shoot. He threatened to cut him up. He threatened to, he was about 18, so none of this was going to happen. It took every ounce of self will not to turn around and say, "You got a gun?"
I was going to say, did he have a sniper rifle packed in his,
Yeah,
packed in his boot,
So-
his motor or something?
He basically spent the entire first half threatening to shoot, which was essentially a 17, 18-year-old kid in the Man City end. So
God.
there are things which are just unbelievably unnecessary, and I really don't like this word, but I know it's banter all the time. But some things sort of go beyond that, and kind of I'm childless at the moment through choice, not through lack of drive. I'd be disappointed if I took my kid to a football match and there was someone there shouting, threatening to shoot and to stab someone.
Oh, that's a bit different.
Yeah.
That's a bit
That's
different.
what I'm saying. There's different levels. Bit of swearing, you can kind of go and
Yeah.
and then if your kid repeats it, you give him a little slap on the wrist and say, "Look, you don't say those words until you're 18, or certainly don't say them in front of me and your mother." I don't know. That's just me.
So you're against swearing, but you don't mind knocking them about a bit.
Yeah, you might be good about it.
Slap on the wrist, isn't it?
Get some CP concerns going on. No,
But then I
guys,
think that, so
sorry.
just to close on that point, I think West Ham need to make it clear, or they need to make a family section. They need to.
No, yeah, that
They
should
need-
have been done. They should have. Again, it's all that transitional stuff. It's not the fans' fault at all. It's the club's fault for not doing that transition properly. They should have had a designated area. This is where families are going to sit, and then when families come, say, "Well, we advise you to sit here," and then there wouldn't be this issue then.
Yeah.
Do you know, like the other thing as well? And I'll close on this. I'm sorry to keep going on, but
That's fine.
there's swearing sort of in the passion. There's passionate swearing. So when you get annoyed about something, or when you feel really strong about something, I don't know why I'm holding a hairband. I don't know. Yeah, so there's that, and then there's the unnecessary swearing. Like there's someone who sits around us, and he doesn't like Gökhan Tor. That's not his name, is it? What's his name?
Gökhan Tor, yeah.
It is Gökhan Tor, isn't it? Yeah. So he calls him a Turkish C. So A, it's racist. B, he's not that thing.
It might be.
So that, well, he might be, yeah, but not as far as I know. He doesn't. If you want to be literal about it, he's definitely not one of those things. But you know, there's sort of swearing for swearing's sake, which is what I think would annoy me slightly more, and that annoys me a bit because I think the racism is unnecessary, especially when we're now in the place where. So I'm going to sound like quite moron here, but we're now in the stadium, which isn't our stadium. We're lending the stadium where people from 1,000 different faiths, or a few hundred different faiths and countries came together and put on, frankly, which was a better spectacle than West Ham will ever put on in 100 years in that stadium. So I think you kind of need to give a lot of people going on about history and tradition. We need to give a nod to the recent history as well. What's gone on in that stadium, where there was all those different cultures and faiths and what have you, doing amazing things, doing sort of superhuman things in that stadium, and then you get someone turning around and you sort of giving someone grief because they're of their nationality.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Lord Coe.
And I know hardly anyone would agree with that, and they're going to say,
No. I'm
it's
just
West
gonna
Ham.
put it, I was actually going to put it out there, guys. If you watched this part of the video, what do you think about the swearing? Like, I think it's fine as long as you're warned and stuff before. Lee has very strong views on what he thinks and the history of the stadium. Let us know, guys. What's your opinions on this swearing issue in the stadium? Should they ban it at football? It's gone totally off the West Ham radar this week, but
And can I just be clear that I'm not saying don't swear. I'm not saying that.
context.
I'm just saying bit of context, bit of use your brain if you can. Don't just do it for the sake of doing it. And if you have got a little 2-year-old kid next to, don't shout things like, I'm going to shoot you.
Okay, that's done for this week. Back to West Ham, guys. This issue come up. If for those of you who don't know, Paul appeared on Hammer's Chat last week, which was really nice of the guys to invite us on. One of the topics they didn't manage to cover in that forum phoning show that they did, I was really intrigued by it. I actually did a little post on their forums, and I wanted to know sort of what you fans thought, and I wanted to put it to the boys. The issue that come up, guys, was, is Mark Noble the next player we should be upgrading? And I thought it was a really good topic that we should talk about, because we all have very sort of different views on Mark.
Do you know, I'm going to be quiet for a while. I've spoke too much.
Go for it. Go.
No, come on, Paul.
Okay, well, no, for me, the answer is no. I don't think he's that detrimental to the team to say that we need to replace him. And do you know what? See, when you brought this up, the first thing that I think of was, I know Noble's not been the best player in the world. Last season he was fantastic, but when I did the video about the farewell bowling and the celebrations and everything, and listening to Mark talk about the club and the people at the club and the fans, and I said in this video that day I was so proud that he was West Ham's captain.
Oh yeah, no, I
was so proud to be able to say, he's West Ham and he's our captain. And honestly, I'd be gutted to see him moved on, unless we were going to bring in someone truly world class to replace him. And I mean truly world class. Then no, I think there should always be a space for him in the team. That's
team
just
or squad?
In the team. I think he should be
first 11.
Like I say, unless we're going to bring in a superstar to replace him, I personally don't. Or unless obviously his form takes a massive dive, I don't see the need to replace him. I think he's a fantastic presence on the pitch. I think he's a very good captain, and I think he's a good influence on the other players.
My view, I mean, let's look at the positives. One, his penalties get us 2-3 wins a season. And he's probably one of the best penalty takers in Europe, given his record, you'd have to say. I mean, even like Messi and Ronaldo probably missed more penalties than Noble. He's very cool, regardless of the situation. He seems to do the business, minus a couple of mishaps. He's got only 2 in his career, I think. So, obviously very good. I kind of see the question as, do we have to, is it Mark that we need to look to upgrade? Is Mark Noble our weakest central midfielder? I think is the first question to look at, because if you're thinking about, do we need an upgrade in central midfield, I think the answer is probably yes. I think there'll always be a place for Mark Noble in West Ham's squad, in the team, and it's good to have that little bit of local
spice,
local. I don't know what I'm trying to say, like a local boy.
Yeah, I know
what you mean. Homegrown.
Yeah. Someone who
and
knows
I think if
the team.
you look at teams like Man City, there's no soul left in that squad really.
So,
people like Company who are very passionate.
Sorry, Lee, just quickly, as an upgrade then, so let's just say the guy's not a West Ham fan who comes in, but he is English and still knows that sort of passion and energy. Is that fair?
Well, I don't think Mark Noble should be in the team because he's a West Ham fan.
No.
I don't think that at all. I think he should be around the squad. I think it's good to have young players and people like Reece Burke, who is a big West Ham fan, so there's more coming through. So
what about, again, we sort of touched on it last week with Jack Wilshere. If a fit Jack Wilshere was available, does he go in?
Oh, I said yes. I maintain that he'd be.
And the thing is, Jack is a big West Ham fan as well. We can say he's an Arsenal fan, but he's a big West Ham fan.
Do you know the thing that frustrates me with Mark Noble is he just plays too safe, in my opinion.
The word I used in the forum when I put the topic out was textbook footballer, in terms of if you could make a footballer, it would probably be someone like Mark Noble, which is safe passes, sideways, backwards, pops up with a goal every now and then, and has a bit of passion, but nothing else. You name, name actual things football-wise, not mentality, that he gives the team. positively, not mentality.
Yeah.
Take mentality out of it, because me and you, we could go on a pitch with the same mentality as him.
Do you know? I don't know where this falls, but if you're thinking of things like, I mean, I don't know. Is it Bilic? Is it him? The amount of times we came back from being behind last season, there's got to be some sort of driving force. You think back to when we were 3-0 down half time against West Brom, and they said that Scott Parker gave the team talk of his life, and Scott Parker's not a West Ham fan. I think he's Tottenham or Chelsea or something. I can't remember.
I think it was Tottenham, mate. Yeah.
So if someone who has no sort of major affiliation with the club other than being adored by the supporters, as Parker was, to be able to do that, if you think you've got Mark Noble, and I know I'm kind of going back to passion, but you need that. There's that drive that I don't think can be replicated by anyone else in our squad at the moment.
One of the moments of last season that actually sticks out, like one of those passion moments. Do you remember when he carried off the Man United guy?
Yeah.
He just lifted him up and carried him off like that.
Herrera. Yeah.
That's the sort of moment that, like, where Mark is at his sort of peak. That's the sort of things he does to lift.
Do you know what whenever I want a goosebump moment, I watch the goals from the last game, and when that Winston Reid header went in, just watch Mark Noble. If you haven't done it in a while, just watch him.
Okay.
You see what it means to him.
So,
that being said, I think central midfield is our weakest
area.
area.
I do at the moment, Lee, as well. Yeah. Can you name then, very quickly, 2 positives and 2 negatives for Mark Noble?
Penalties.
Staying in the team.
Yeah, penalties.
And there's no one better than him to play at the moment.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
that's positive or negative.
Negatives. Yeah. He does dive into tackles. He does make silly tackles, and he is liable to making a dodgy pass on one of his passes backwards to give the ball away. He does give the ball away a bit. So I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he's a perfect player. I don't think he's amazing. I don't think he's the best player in the world. It's really hard to put a thing on it, what it is. Like Lee said about Man City not having that soul, especially where we've just moved stadiums and the whole West Ham starting again. I don't know, part of me wants to hold on to that. What is West Ham? Do you know what I mean? And for me, at the moment, Mark Noble typifies that.
Yeah.
I think that's nicely put.
Yeah. So, so to sum up then, to sum up, for you, it's sort of a no and a yes, really, isn't it? There's no real answer, is there?
Well, it would depend on who was coming in, wouldn't it? Really?
Like, for example, Yaya Toure is apparently surplus to requirements at Man City. Extreme example. Don't think we'll ever get him. Would you take him over Mark Noble right now?
I'd take him over Kouyaté.
Really?
Yeah.
What you would play?
He's more of a Kouyaté player than a Mark Noble player.
He is, but I think Kouyaté is our best player, personally.
Yeah, I think Kouyaté our best. He's not started well, but none of them have. And remember who we've played, guys, Chelsea and Man City.
If you said to me a couple of years ago, or probably even now, to be honest, would I take Pirlo in the team over Noble? Obviously. It's not even a question. It depends on the player that's coming in.
Yeah, I think that is a key point as well. Is who is the upgrade? Who is the guy that steps in?
Do you know it'd be interesting to see this season?
Midfielder or a hard sort of Kante-like player? Is that what would you be looking at to replace Mark?
Do you know it'd be interesting this season is if Nordtveit is going to play in the sort of CDM position, then that sort of pushes Noble into Lanzini's position of last season.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see a CDM. When players are fit, we'll see the striker, 3 attacking players behind him, and then 2 midfielders. I don't think we'll see a CDM.
Yeah, 2 oldest. Yeah, 2 oldest. Kouyaté and
Noble, probably,
Mark. Yeah, Mark, yeah. So...
there would be an argument. I mean, Nordtveit hasn't had the best of starts this season, but say, for example, he was on form because he has got a lovely pass on him. He's a player that I would say would be looking at Mark's position.
Yeah, like I'm saying, the only sort of, like what Lee's already mentioned, the sort of player you would be looking for to upgrade Mark would be the sort of Scott Parker level that he was when he was at West Ham. I think that's the only sort of style player that can upgrade, who can tackle, can pass, and gets a goal.
See, I don't think goal scoring is that important for someone. I'd be looking more for someone who can basically just sit in the middle of the park, win tackles, and then release the ball. Win a tackle, release the ball.
Does Mark do that well?
I think Noble's a better player when he's played further forward, personally. a few times this season he's played actually in the number 10 position, and that's where he started his career. Don't forget, it was Allardyce that turned him into a defensive midfielder.
Yeah, no, that's one of the points I made, mate. When he first came through Kirbsley sort of era, he was a goal scoring attacking midfielder. Yeah, maybe that has sort of what has caused the criticism over the years is that he's had to drop too deep, and maybe he wants to play more up attacking.
Do you know how many? This might be quite a long question, but okay, let's press it. Who wouldn't Mark Noble? What team wouldn't Noble get into in the Premiership? So Man United, Chelsea, Liverpool.
Well, he wouldn't get into any of the. I'd be lying if I said it weren't the fact that he is West Ham through and through that lifts him up.
Yeah.
Would he get in another Premier League starting lineup?
Everton, no.
Bournemouth have now got Wilshere, so that's out. Bournemouth have now got Wilshere. So.
Southampton, no. I don't know any of those. I don't know top 10 sort of sides. I can't see him getting in.
No, I probably agree.
So
with
is
that.
he in on that basis? Then we've kind of come to a conclusion that he's in the team because of his West Ham support.
Possibly, but I don't think anyone would say he's not. It's like if you're going to replace him, what are you going to replace him with?
But that's kind of an argument which we had when we was all in one place about Frank Lampard originally being in the squad because his dad was assistant manager, and everyone was mad about that. What's the difference?
I'll tell you what. If we're going to talk about nepotism, has anyone got a word about Sam Wesley been named in our squad?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Obviously, his dad's Terry Wesley, who come in as head of youth development to replace Tony Carr. I've never seen Sam play, but by all reports, he's absolutely shocking. He's not even good enough for the development squad, let alone being named in the actual squad. Apparently, we loaned him out to that VVV, who's our our feeder club, and he couldn't even get a game there. Shows the level of this player. But because of who his dad is, you would have to assume he's actually been named in our 25-man squad. I think that's absolutely unbelievable.
That is wrong. That is very wrong. But I think that's the way of the football world, though. Sadly, guys, it's not what you know to a certain extent; it's who you know.
Kind of true of life, isn't it?
Yeah, people like Alex Song, etc. His kids are there. Payet's kids are there. Like, of course, they've got a head start. What do you think, guys, about Sam?
In the 25-man squad, yeah.
Okay, moving on. Watford, before we hit the questions, guys. Obviously, Watford, we play first ever 3 p.m. kickoff at the London Stadium. I will have a preview out later this week. I'm really excited. I'm glad that we've got a 3 o'clock game. Obviously, they've changed manager over the summer. They've brought in a player that was linked to West Ham. I will go more in depth, but Pereira, so he's a good player, scored in his debut.
Good player. I actually think we should have signed him, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But sorry, go on.
They haven't won a game yet, Watford, this season.
Yeah.
Including they lost to, I'm going to say
Gillingham.
Gillingham.
Again, I'll go into it in my preview, but they have played some very hard matches.
But they lost to Gillingham at home in the League Cup. New manager takes time to
be
bed.
desperate for a win. I think there's more pressure on them than us.
Oh, I know about that. I think there'd be the way the fans are at the moment. If we were to lose that game, there would be hell to pay. I think. And to be honest,
Zaza will be starting.
Yeah, 100% straight in. I think he'll start. I'm glad we got onto this now. I'm going to reverse the question. Now Payet has played 45 minutes for France. Let's see what he does tonight. If he then doesn't start on Saturday, what's your view?
He'll start. He'll definitely start.
I think he'll start.
Hypothetically, if he doesn't.
I don't care if we see him for 45 minutes.
It's a weird one because
if we see him for the second half, I'll be happy.
There'd be no reason to not play him. So I don't know. I can't see any reason.
Or maybe you'll get an hour. I don't know, like play 60 minutes. But there's no reason not to play him now. You know, they've done what they did. They hid him away.
Transfer window's closed. Transfer
window's closed. Yeah, let him do what he wants.
So
if someone wants to come in January again, boom, 100 million. Like we.
I don't think let him do what he wants. Don't think not that, but because then you're in Sacco territory.
But no, I think we'll definitely see Zaza start up front. Hopefully we'll see Pai start on the left. I'd love to see Lanzini start in the middle, and I reckon Antonio will probably start on the right.
Yeah, I think so. I
I'd
think.
like to see.
Will we be seeing Arbeloa play, or will Sam Byram start? What
I
do you
think
think?
he'll start.
Arbeloa won't play for 3 weeks. They've said.
Oh, right,
Oh, right.
right. Yeah, I was going to say, I think he would have started Byram. I don't think he would have took that spot away from Byram straight away anyway. As I think we spoke about last week, Bilic does seem to be someone who, once you're in the team, you've got it until you mess up. So,
Who's your two centre halves then?
I mean, it won't change. I think they'll still. Although free played, didn't they, against City?
um,
Um,
I've seen a lot of people. I don't know. This is a question, but is Reed injured? Because I've seen a lot of people's prospective teams not have Reed in. They've been Collins and
Well,
Ogbonna.
Reed's getting a lot of stick, and I've seen a lot of people saying they don't want him in this side. So it might be a bit of that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But he went off injured, didn't he, against City? So
I think against your Troy Deeney-like characters, I think you do need Ginge in there. You know, the ones that have played that non-league stuff, they're a bit naughty, and I think you do need a Ginge character in there to deal with these sort of players.
I'd like to see midfield Noble,
midfield, yeah.
Chiari, Lanzini. Hopefully,
Yeah, I think that's what we will see. Yeah.
Pyatt and Antonio on the wings, Zaza up top. Yeah, and then possibly bring Ashley Fletcher on if needed. Okay, yeah. So, what's your predictions, guys? Very quickly, we do it every week.
Oh, so while we're on this, Paul, did you say something about Faguli? I hadn't seen this.
Yeah, no.
Yes.
Today, I'm pretty sure it was today. Someone had posted a video from one of the training sessions, and it looked like Faguli was limping off. He does limp off and then sit down on the sidelines. So whether
Yeah, some of the news that's come out, I just read on Twitter before we went live. Actually, is that it's a very minor knock, so it's not really affected too much. It may be, I don't know, an extra week.
Yeah,
perhaps.
I don't think he would have started anyway. I think Antonio probably would start, but it would have been nice to have seen him on the bench.
Nice impact sub he would have been. Yeah. So quickly, guys, predictions. I will give mine in my preview, but you guys can give yours now.
If we start with that team that we just said, with Pay, Lanzini, Antonio, Zaza, I think we'll definitely win. I really want to say a sort of 2 or 3-0, but I'm not confident at all in us keeping a clean sheet. So I'm going to say 2-1, maybe 3-1 if we do well.
Lovely scrappy 1-0, please.
Okay. Yeah. So, last thing, guys. Questions. Quite a few, actually. I posted it out quite late, but loads of people got their questions in. There's some funny ones and there's some topical ones. First one, Tristan Beer. Would you rather fight 100 duck-sized horses or a horse-sized duck?
Have we not done this one before?
No, I think we did an elephant one before.
It's just like,
Say it again slowly.
100 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck?
See, I don't like ducks, so they freak me out.
I'll go for it. Yeah,
I work near St James's Park, and the ducks there are evil. They're hardcore because there were so many tourists around there.
You'd rather fight 100 horses?
Yeah, I would.
I love the horses.
If they're tiny, then yeah, you just kick them.
I'd ride them
and
boys,
stuff. Yeah, but no, a horse-sized duck. Can you imagine?
Okay, man like Lanzini though says, "Are you disappointed we didn't get a marquee striker in? And do you think Zaza will fire us?" I think he will. I do. I'm quite impressed with him actually, and. Yes, he's not marquee, but he's still a Serie A Italian international player. Yeah.
I think a mixture of Zaza, Carroll, Fletcher, and Cagliari will get us the goals this year with AU, etc., chipping in as well. We've got no worries, I don't think.
Yeah, some of the little clips in training from Zaza look really nice. Really tidy player, good feet.
I mean,
quite exciting.
Jury's out, really, isn't it? We'll have to wait and see. I am disappointed we didn't get a marquee signing. Obviously, who wouldn't have loved to have seen Bakar or Lacazette come in or Batshuayi? But at the end of the day, we've got Zaza. I hope he does well for us. I like to think he would. But yeah, exactly. That's it. We've got to get behind him, give him a chance.
Do you know? I don't know if I'm talking rubbish here or not, so I'm just going to think and speak at the same time. So bear with me. If you look at the word marquee, kind of Arbeloa has won everything in the game. So technically, he's a marquee signing.
He's probably the most high profile.
Yeah, but he's not obviously a striker, which is what we were kind of promised. But yeah.
But if we would have bought in an attacking midfielder, I'm trying to think of an example. Who's the best attacking midfielder in the world? We would have bought in Neymar, technically not a striker. Iniesta, you would have accepted that, wouldn't you?
No, I wouldn't have been happy with that. No. Do you know what I saw? And this is one for you. It's interesting actually talking about Mark Noble. When Arbeloa signed, there was a tweet from Xabi Alonso. Who it was in Spanish, and I've seen a few translations, but one of them was basically "nice shirt" about the West Ham shirt. I want one of those, Would you sign Xabi Alonso?
Yes.
Yes, I would. Yeah, I don't care how old he is. He's another one who just would tick things over for us.
Now, if you said to me Noble or Alonso, then I'd have to say Alonso, yeah.
Because he can just sit there, he doesn't have to run around. Got Coyote doing all the running around him.
Yeah, and he's so cute. Like, very much Pirlo-like. He can get himself out of trouble and then just ping one to Antonio. Again, it's not going to happen, but I would love to see it. Vincent, are you happy with the way the board has treated the fans? Doesn't really go into detail, but I assume that's sort of stuff on the tickets and stuff. I was going to mention that. We didn't actually touch on it. Tickets, guys, I know Lee's had a massive rant on Twitter this morning, threatened to take David Gold to Watchdog and things like that, and Robinson's going to be after you. Yeah, so are you happy with the way we've been treated? Let's just treat it as tickets then. Let's pretend he's talking about tickets.
You know, and it's not the board though, is it? That sort of thing. It's some employee of West Ham who mucked up, or some employee of Ticketmaster. So let me just give a bit of background. So this morning the deadline was 9 o'clock to get your Accrington tickets, season ticket holders. I tried doing it last night. Started doing it from about 6. Wasn't working. In fact, it had completely disappeared. The option to buy the tickets gone. So I sat on the phone for half an hour at 13p a minute. And then I got through to a thing at the end that said, so you need to speak to someone and we're now closed, even though the thing said it's a 24-hour line. So that was absolute rubbish. So it's not the board, this sort of thing, despite the fact that I threatened David Gold this morning.
That are in charge of that department. Really.
Yeah, exactly. It's not. There's obviously every football. I think what people fail to grasp, and it kind of frustrates me a bit, I work in a very hierarchical organisation. There's lots of layers. It isn't David Gold, then the man who sells the tickets.
No.
It's David Gold, the director of tickets. It's blah, 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 blah. So there's probably about 7 people between the David Gold and the man who pressed that button to turn off tickets. So, and I'll defend myself because I didn't send abuse. I was just asking the question. I said, you're the only person on Twitter to do with West Ham. He's essentially the PR. He's that's part of PR, isn't it? And I just said, can you have a word with someone in the ticket office to sort it out? Because if you put a thing in, let's say the deadline's 9 o'clock, then it needs to stay at 9 o'clock, and otherwise, it's a lie. Sorry. Just to answer the original question and I will hark back to this until the day I or they or whoever dies. We wouldn't be West Ham United without Golden Sullivan.
Yeah. Well, we would have been in a bad position.
We could have gone bust. We were that close to going bust.
Yeah.
West Ham could have disappeared.
Okay.
They saved us, and I think people should be a bit more grateful.
Joe Margery, very quickly, guys. Who's your best and worst summer signing? Best so far for me is Fagudi. The worst, I don't know. It's very hard to judge the worst because it's still so early.
It's very harsh. I think on current appearances, probably Torre has not looked good.
I think if you put a gun towards my head, it's probably that fan that was at Man City. I'll pick Torre. Yeah.
For best for me is Masuaku. I think he's got a ridiculous potential. I think he's going to be a star.
Yeah, no, he is. He's very good. He's very, very good.
Lee?
I'm just thinking, again, I'd like to answer this. I said last week, answer this question at Christmas because I think we have a better idea.
No, but first impressions,
First impressions. Best Masuaku, but again, it's only 3 games, so let's not get too carried away, people. I saw a thing the other day on Twitter, actually, about people doing comparisons and how Cresswell's never going to get back in the side. The guy's played 3 games. He's obviously playing out his skin because he wants to impress. Let's see what he's like come Christmas when he's played a few games in the Premier League, getting bumped around. He was lucky to stay on the pitch against Man City, don't forget, so he's got a lot to learn. Mm-hmm. Worst...
you say Tor, Calieri hasn't impressed me really that much yet either.
Calieri, actually, I would say Calieri because, if you think back specific games... Contribution, the away game against Astra, Tor had a really good game. Mm. He's crossing
and
it.
The miss that Calieri had against Bournemouth, that sort of sticks out for me.
Tor against Bournemouth, got an assist.
Yeah. If you're going on what impact they've actually had in the team so far, probably Torre just steps ahead of Calieri. Yeah,
that's a fair point.
Yeah. Joe Price, we sort of touched on this, but who would you start up front when we have a fully fit squad?
Zaza.
It's hard to tell, but at the moment, Zaza. Yeah.
Lee's probably going to say Carroll.
No, I won't. I maintained all the.
Sorry, I was going to say this is the thing as
well.
What is
your order then? What's your order?
We're all saying Zaza, but we haven't seen him play yet.
Yeah.
No.
So
that's right. What is your order then?
At the moment, I'd say Zaza, again, though we haven't seen him, but if you're spending that sort of money on a player, he's got to be first choice. Then it's Carroll, then it's Fletcher, then it's Calieri at the moment for me.
What about
What,
Ayew?
Although Ayew, I think, is back up to
Payet?
Payet, isn't he, on the left wing?
What about Sacco, though?
Forget about Sacco. I think he's done.
Yeah, we're forgetting Sacco?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think in Bilic's mind, it goes Zaza, Carroll, Calieri, Fletcher. I think.
Yeah. Okay, Matthew Costa. Which failed transfer bid are you most disappointed about? Mine personally is Batshuayi. I think he's going to be the new Drogba and something we would have needed.
Yeah, it's a very good shout. Very good shout. For me is Lacazette, because he's a class above any of the other players that we've been linked with.
Did you read today? Sorry, Paul, go on.
No, go on, Lee, go on.
Just saying, I read today about Bilic wanted Pogba.
Oh, yes, I read that. I did read. Yeah.
So, in which case, Pogba.
Yeah.
Well,
we've got 100 million, haven't we?
Well, when Jack was on a couple of weeks ago, he did touch on the fact that there was flirting with Zlatan. So for me, like, Zlatan just would have been out of this world. That would have just been unreal.
It's hard to sort of get what's truth and what's rumour. So if you're going by rumours, then James would have been fantastic. There was a bit of rumour going around where he was after him.
Done,
If you're going by what's come out of the chairman's mouth, Tevez would have been great to have back regardless.
I forgot about that as well, yeah. Mitchell for York, I believe he's one of the Hammers chat guys. Is there anyone we didn't sell this window who you would have liked to have been sold?
Sacco.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sacco, and I'm just sort of reversing it. I'm what was it Colton Cole used to say? Over chuffed. I think that was Colton Cole's phrase, wasn't it? I'm over chuffed that Obiang stayed.
Yeah.
In fact, when we were talking about central midfielders, he didn't even come into it. I'm a big fan.
Are you? What about the Valencia deal then? Would you have preferred to just take the money rather than let Everton sort of judge him for a year where it will probably be absolute crap?
I mean, obviously, I think everyone, especially the owners, would have preferred to pay the money up front. But if no one was prepared to pay it, at least we've got the wages off the books.
Did you see the Aston Villa chairman? What he tweeted? Have I said this?
Yes, I did see that. Yeah.
He said they wanted Valencia.
I've seen him play 3 times. Yeah.
He went to see him 3 times, and then no way I'm paying that money. So I think unless it was a ridiculous move to China or somewhere like that, I don't think we was ever going to get 14 million. In fact, the fact we've got 14 million in the contract shows what a great negotiator David Sullivan is. If indeed it was, did it?
When before last season, start of last season, was it Mourinho wanted to pay something like 25 million for him?
Yeah, a couple of years ago. Yeah, he was going to go in for both, wasn't he? Sacco and Valencia. That's what the rumours were. Whether it's true, who knows? Next one, guys. SB, one of the funny ones. Is Katy Perry the most attractive West Ham supporter?
Well, me, obviously. No.
Well, I don't know. I put that tweet out a few weeks ago, Lee. I think Jay actually won it, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
From Camera and Talk, one the best looking West Ham YouTuber.
Okay, well, who's on that list then? So obviously you've got Katy Perry, Keira Knightley. What's your girl name? Who's the singer?
Pixie Lot.
Who else is there? Is there anyone else?
No Edmonds.
The Queen.
The Queen. Yeah. I'm not saying anything bad about her.
Yeah. It's probably Katy Perry. I don't know. I don't think she's really a West Ham fan.
Yeah, is she really even a West Ham fan?
For actual West Ham fans, it's probably, I don't know, Pixie Lot, I suppose.
What about that one who won X Factor? The one who's all over there.
I don't watch X Factor.
No, but she was over there about 10 times last season.
She?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm sure there's a million.
Yeah, let us know, guys, what you think.
I'm sure there's loads of very attractive West Ham ladies.
Yes. Ben WHUFC. If you were Bilic, would you be fed up with how the club is being run? Seems Sullivan makes all the major decisions, can't be right.
No, I don't think he does make all the major decisions.
No, I don't think so.
I think there's a committee. I mean, in fact, listen to what Jack Sullivan said. It's Tony Henry, David Sullivan, and Slaven Bilic who make the decisions. I think listen back to the podcast with Jack.
Yeah.
I think there are deals that Dave has more influence in, and I think like, for example, I can imagine like Calieri or someone like that was very much a Dave signing.
But like, if you believe what you read and what you hear, apparently Bilic had the final say on Becker as well, didn't he? So it's not like he's completely out of the loop.
Yeah.
So I think there's you don't want too much of it either way. I don't think you don't want the chairman, you don't want the manager turning around and saying get this or I'm off. But then again, you don't want the chairman to say sign this player or he's sacked. So you want a good sort of mix.
No. That's all the questions this week, guys. There was a few more, but I think we touched on them. There was some predictions for the Watford game. There was another one about our favourite striker. Yeah, so that's it for this week, guys. I hope you enjoyed the show, show number 27. I don't know, the show's going really nicely. It's actually really appreciative of you guys that you've been voting for us for the Football Podcast Awards. Like, we've got no chance of winning it, but it really is. It's quite touching actually to have that sort of even just be nominated by you guys. It shows that what we're doing is worth it. You know, even if 2 fans vote us, we know we're doing something right.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I will say as well. Special delivery came for me today. I'm gonna have to try and stand up and see if you can see it. But the Free Hammers merchandise. I don't know if you can really see that. But yeah, basically, I've designed this T-shirt, and I'm just interested. Is this something that you guys would be interested in having yourself? Maybe we could do a couple of giveaways. We could do some competitions to give away some of these tops. Or if it's something that maybe we can look at setting up like a shop, if you'd be interested in buying them. I don't know. Let us know if there's something you'd be interested in as well. I'd be quite interested to hear that.
Yeah. Also, guys, remember you've got about 9 days when this video goes out. It will be about 8 days left of the competition. Please get involved. Share our stuff. Let other people know about the competition. We'll be announcing the winner maybe next week's podcast, maybe the podcast after that. The competition closes the 15th, so maybe I will announce the winner the week after. Yeah, get involved in West Ham Banter Pages competition. They're also running a competition at the same time. That's it from me. I'll be back with my preview.
Yeah,
guys,
brilliant.
Yeah,
Lee's not listening. Lee's.
I'm here. I'm listening.
Yeah, so that's it. Keep believing, guys. Come on, your own.
Cheers.